Hi everyone, it's me Joe, and today I'm actually going back in time. Oh my god, do you guys remember when I did this look? Probably a lot of you won't, because I did this look in 2011 on JH Cosmetics. It was one of my first tutorials I did with studio lights, and it was called Mannequin Drag, I think it was called back in the day. I am going to put a clip on the screen actually. It's so funny looking back because I remember when I was actually doing this tutorial, I worked so hard to get where I am today, and it's so funny looking back because it's like, oh my god. This is like a drag step-by-step kind of tutorial today. Alright guys, can't wait for you to see the rest that I'm working on. Please enjoy the video and subscribe if you're new. Okay, so let's go in with the tutorial today, and I often see these tutorials and I always see people kind of skip past the shaving and the actual skincare because really you cannot get the same kind of finesse unless your skincare is on point. If you don't want to get laser and you enjoy your beard, the next step would be actually getting a great shaver. Now my one shaving tip is actually using a hair conditioner as a shaving lotion, or like the shaving thing you use while you're shaving. What is that called? A shaving cream. Because it just makes the blades slide very silicone over the skin. Second good tip is when you're actually thinking about going in these hot environments on the studio lights like these, and one product that's actually amazing and has been an old school trick is Milk and Magnesium. I have been using and talking about Magnesium skincare all week on my Facebook page. You can check me out. I often blog about my new beauty finds. Now we've prepped the canvas, and now we're going to go in with the brow colour. I'm going to first clean the brows with alcohol. Now I'm going to go in with my glue, the one that's a dark purple, not a fuchsia, and I'm going to go against the grain of the hairs. Then I'm going to go back into the brow. While the kind of glue is starting to dry, I'm going to grab a rat tail comb, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull the hairs down. The reason I'm pulling them down and not up is because that's where my eyebrows actually grow. Second layer. Okay, now we've got a couple of layers. I'm going to grab Coty Airspun Loose Powder in the colour. I'm not even sure what colour this is. Rosy beige, which I quite enjoy. Okay, so now the eyebrows are kind of covered and we're good to go. Now we're going to go with the base. So a lot of people have some issues with beard coverage and things like that, or eyebrow coverage. So there are products that are great for that. Colour correction like OCC's Colour Concentrates in Nude. I think the other one's called Grandma, but it's like a bright orange. It's better for darker skin tones and also for darker beards. But I like this colour. I'm not necessarily going to use it today because this stuff is heavy enough, I believe. But that's good if you have the desire for extra coverage. Alright guys, so I'm going to be using 10W, which is that very deep, warm, undertoned paint stick. Now, if you've been following me, I've been trying out a new shape to my contours at the moment. I'm doing like a, I don't know, like an oval dome to my forehead, which I'm enjoying immensely. Now I'm going to be using OB2. I'm going to go over the brows as well. Rounding. Okay, I'm now going to go into the jawline. When you're kind of feminizing a male jawline, you really don't want to exaggerate the lines in it because it makes your jawline look more masculine. Women's faces are less developed in the lower quadrant of the face because of the growth of testosterone and so forth, and the secondary characteristics is a longer growth here and here. So if you want to round off and soften the jawline, you should probably leave that area completely and kind of use a backwards contour technique, like using a highlight against the jaw. But today I'm doing this kind of mannequin-y inspired look, so I'm going to go from the back. I'm just going to go and skim the chin here. And we're going to go into the nose. So So now I want to actually go in with some white. I'm actually going to be using my finger to start with, just by grabbing the white paint stick. I kind of want to just maneuver it. Into the nose with my finger. I'm just going to start pushing into the highlights here. So that's really how I would do a contour, and the darker you want to take the contours, we can actually bump that up in a second. I'm now going to be using that coaty powder just on a fluffy brush by Morphe. I'm going to be using Studio Fix by MAC in NW10. The reason I like this colour is because it's pinky, it's pale enough to buff up the highlights, but it's not super white. And then I like to do this at the moment, and I do like a boomerang shape under my cheeks here. I'm going to be using Flesh by NARS, just kind of around that. Again, this isn't as pale, but it just blends, it diffuses out cleaner. Okay, so I'm going to show you two differences. This one's obviously a little bit more redder and this one's a little bit more golder. Because we've used red, aka a warmer, pinker undertone through everything, to make an actual contrast we're going to use yellow. So that will actually give more of a contrast than just using the same colour tone. It doesn't look as dramatic if you keep the colour tones the same for this kind of effect. So go with the opposite when you're contouring. So I'm using a bigger brush. This is the burn tool. Next I'm going to be using this blush colour. It's just like a peachy pink, a rose, by Vivo. Kind of like a MAC Mineralized Skin Finish blush. Just to give that porcelain skin. It kind of diffuses the colour out a little bit. Next, I'm going to go into this palette by Suva, and I'm going to use this sparkly highlight, which is a gold. Probably one of my favourite. Right, so now I'm going to go in with white. I'm going to mix the white matte, and I'm just going to go against the nostril here. Do you see what I'm doing? Just there, and dragging down. So we're kind of repainting the nostril one in a more upturned way. And then I'm just going again with the white. I'm putting it just against the nose. Okay, so now I'm going to be going in with some liner for the eyes. I'm going to be using OCC's Tarte liner. Now I'm going to connect into the contour I've already drawn. Then I'm going to go, as I kind of did in my original tutorial, I'm going to kind of okay, so if I look at my eyes straight forwards, I have an area where my eye starts going downwards, and that's where you want to create the lift from. You have to control your eye shape with the lines in the eye. So as my eye starts to tilt down, if we were to then start at the end, it will just exaggerate how downwards your eyes are. And it's really important to play with your own features, because not every technique works for every face shape. So over the top of the black, I am going to be using a mixture of this blue and, do you know what, I'm just going to go with the blue, the turquoise. I don't want to go with the blue. Sometimes those blues break down very purpley when you start blending them out, and I kind of want it to be a greyish green. So again, I'm using this nudie colour and I'm starting to just blend out the green. I'm going to be using the white kind of silvery shimmer in the Suva palette, and I'm going to start kind of breaking it into the lid and just the inner tear duct here. Okay, so now what I did last time in the original video is I used a blue underneath. I'm going to go in with the metallic-y blue in the same turquoise. I'm going to be using the brush I've been using so far just because it has a little bit of that remnant black on it. And yeah, that's lavish. I like that one. And then I just winged out. I'm going to be using my liner and I'm just basically going to line the top. This is so I'm going to grab some of the matte black and I'm just going to blend that into itself a little bit so it doesn't necessarily look like a line, it's kind of more the shape. I want to basically lift everything up. Brows. So originally I had no eyebrows at all in my first tutorial of this, but now I do. So I've got to be a little bit more smart about how we go in with the brows, because sometimes when you go over the glue of a brow, it brings out the texture. I think when people use eyeshadows which are very matte, it almost dries the glue and the effect is a little bit not as flush. So I'm going to be using Skin Base by Illamasqua. They are foundations, but I'm going to be mixing two colours together. This one is... They don't often put the numbers on the back of these, which I've noticed. It doesn't actually say, but it's a yellow base and I would assume it would be a 15, because this is an 18. So I'm just going to mix the two on the back of my hand. I'm going to go quite, not far apart, but I might just use that lighter colour, I think it's quite perfect. Shit! Just did that. Next I'm going to go in with the lips. I'm going to be using a couple of OCC colours. I'm going to be using Lydia. Always reminds me of my friend called Lydia who lives in Brighton. Now I'm going to be using Hoochie. So I've stacked some lashes that I've been comfortable wearing earlier. They're just 3 or 4. I'm not going to show you how I would stack them because I think it really depends on your eye shape. I would start off with a thin banded wispy lash. So you're building from your real lashes to begin with. Then I will go in with a corner lash. Then I will go in with a larger drag lash. And then I will finish with another wispy. The reason I do this is because I want it to look 3D, but I also want it to elevate the eye shape in the right areas. I don't want it to look like a sailboat, which it can quite often do. And pretty much this is the final look.